Houston, we have a problem.
Give me all you got!
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills.
Give me back my gun! I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
Hello and welcome to Stand and Watch, the best and only dad movie podcast you're ever going to listen to because we killed all the other ones. As always, I am your host, Matt.
I'm your other host, Nick. That's right. The other podcast dads are dead. We gave them measles.
Which is legal now.
And do it. Hey, like RFK said, it just happens. This shit happens now.
This shit happens. Hello, all you standees, especially you, Steve Buscemi. Today we are joined by a special guest, the other Matthew. Who's going to be Matthew 1 and Matthew 2? We're joined by Matthew Pinkney.
Yay! Got it right in one. I'm so proud of you.
I've been practicing that all week. I mispronounced a guest name once, and I still have nightmares about it.
Yes, I will be Matthew on this podcast in deference to my literal father, who will not call me Matt.
That'll help me out a lot, you guys. I was really dreading doing a podcast with two Matts and was actually planning on getting another Nick for a future episode. So stay tuned for that.
You got to get a Nicholas.
Well, I'm Nicholas. And my email at work has Nicholas in it. And so everyone that emails me that doesn't know me by Nick is like, Nicholas this, Nicholas that. And half of them are younger than me. And it's just like, no, it was my grandmother who called me Nicholas whenever I was in trouble. Otherwise, it's Nick. Come on.
Okay, well,
That is the vibe.
The other Nick you get on better be Nick with a C and no K.
No K.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No. Like I like Nikki, the Nikki. My wife doesn't like it because she thinks it's the slutty Nick. I'm like, it's not slutty. It's just aesthetically, I like the IKKI. And then it's kind of like I like Mark, but I don't like Mark with a K. I like Mark with a C. So I maybe I could see Nick with a C only, but
I mean, Nick Cage.
Yeah, okay.
You
sold me.
I love how you started that set. You started that tirade being so adamant against those single C, and then you came around to it. So many contradictions just in one little monologue of yours.
I can be swayed easily. Like, it doesn't take much.
To be fair, Nick Cage is a pretty good argument for the Nick with just a C.
That's true.
Yeah, I didn't know he was just a C for the longest time. And then something snapped in the last 10 years. I was like, oh, it's just N-I-C. Because I was spelling it Nick Cage, like N-I-C-K.
Ooh. No, Nick Cage is a accountant from New Mexico. Nick Cage is the actor.
Is Johnny Cage's little cousin.
It's like the Seinfeld episode where he buys John Voight's car, but it's John with an H-N. He was a dentist.
You cannot bring up John Voight in this pod. You cannot.
Why?
You cannot.
Why? What happens when I do?
The Razzies are happening. Francis Ford Coppola is out there defending his art, which I sent you his post earlier, and I was like, yeah, fucking get him. And then I remembered this was all about Megalopolis.
Matthew, have you seen Megalopolis?
Not yet. I forgot the Razzies were happening. I've been so caught up in the run-up to the Oscars, or as some have called them, the other Razzies.
So I was reading
earlier.
I had to
stick to Amelia Perez. I don't have to give them any respect.
Oh God.
So I think the Razzies are over as of recording this. I think Megalopolis got stiffed. I don't think they won Worst Picture.
What would have beaten Megalopolis?
You don't know? You really don't know? You guys have a guess?
Borderlands?
I'm literally looking this up.
Hang on.
All right, Matthew's disqualified.
Okay. I barely knew any movies that came out this year.
I'm not Googling this. I'm looking up what the worst movie I rated on Letterboxd this year is.
I'll give you a hint. It came out, has it been a year? I think it's been a year since it came out.
Came out in 2024? Or 2023, you mean?
Oh, sorry, I just looked at the Wikipedia.
He died.
I enjoy this lineup for the Razzies maybe more than I enjoy the lineup for Best Picture this year.
He died in Africa studying spiders.
Oh shit, that did come out in 2024, didn't it?
It was
Yeah,
South America. How dare you?
South America. I'm sorry. I thought it was South Africa. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Is that line in the movie?
no. I saw that movie in theaters. I had a good time. Not because it's good, though.
It's stupid fun. It's stupid fun. You just gotta turn your brain off.
I'm going to say
it's
this.
stupid fun.
It was better than Venom,
Which one?
the third one.
Fair.
And
Those
I've heard,
movies just feel like they're like.
I've
okay,
heard it.
let's
I've
just-
heard it's better than Craven. Also,
Did they? There was a scene in Craven where I think they fucked up the audio, or they didn't put in the post audio, and the guy's like,
all of those movies are filled with. I mean, Venom doesn't, but like all the non-Venom movies are filled with terrible ADR. The villain in Madam Web, like sometimes his ADR is completely like just like it's not synced at all. Sometimes he'll have it like a Spanish accent, and sometimes he won't. Like
That's just so
you'll tell.
mysterious.
No, it's like sometimes they dubbed over this and didn't dub over that.
I love these bad Marvel movies, which is essentially kind of all of them now.
Put some respect on Madam Web's name. It's Sony. Sony is the standard bearer for the bad Marvel.
What were the other Razzie noms? I have to know.
Marvel's just fine.
I do want to see these other because I only knew of that one in Megalopolis.
I do
Razzie.
generally,
It was.
I do generally hate the Razzies, but I have to say, okay, Madam Web, Borderlands, Joker, Megalopolis, and Reagan. That's a solid lineup of shit.
Jeez. That's like this is probably the greatest year for Razzies right here. Like,
This is
you have
honestly one of the few Razzie years I'm like, yeah, solid. And none of these feel like they're punching down at someone.
this
FFC one for Megalopolis. I love that.
This Razzie years, this is the Razzie equivalent of the 79 Oscars.
Was that the one with All the President's Men?
I think so. Or no, when did this come out? 76 or 77? So, okay, whatever. This Razzies is the Razzie equivalence of the All the President's Men Oscars.
Yeah.
I do think I think Unfrosted got snubbed. I think Unfrosted should be up there for worst picture. But Jerry Seinfeld taking worst actor, love it.
Worst actress, Dakota Johnson. Yep, okay.
Her
You know
face
what?
up there accepting the award.
You know what though? We said this in our Bad Times at the El Royale episode. She just gives you nothing. I will say she at least her whole I'm going to give you nothing. At least it kind of works in Madam Web. She seems to be the only one who's aware of this is a piece of shit.
Speaking of your hero, John
Boyd,
Boyd,
in a way that I like, you know.
Okay, I take umbrage with this. John Voight for worst actor in Megalopolis. He's the best part of that movie.
that's your hero.
Yeah.
That's your hero. Not John Voight, but the character played by John Voight.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Oh, he won worst supporting actor for multiple movies.
Megalopolis. I forgot he's in Reagan. I do love the rest of these nominees for worst supporting actor. There's Jack Black for Borderlands, Kevin Hart for Borderlands,
Shia LaBeouf for Megalopolis.
I think Shia had a pretty good. I think Shia knew with the homework. Shia knew what he was doing, and I don't agree with that one.
Worst screen combo. Joker and Lady Gaga won. Okay, I agree with that. Any two obnoxious characters, but especially Jack Black, Borderlands.
How do you get a job at the Razzies?
Jack Black did Borderlands this year and last year and is gonna do Minecraft this year. I am so sorry for that man.
Oh,
we should be sorry for us, not him. He's the one that keeps taking the jobs.
Worst remake, ripoff or sequel. Joker 1, The Crow, Craven, Mufasa, or Rebel Moon 2. They should have given Rebel Moon something here.
Rebel Moon needs some love here. I love the under worst screen combo. Any two unfunny comedic actors.
Worst screenplay, Madam Web wins. Joker, Craven, Megalopolis, Reagan. Yeah, you could have given this to Megalopolis.
Man, that is stacked.
Razzie
Redeemer,
Pam Anderson, Demi Moore, and Megan Fox. Ooh.
Is that an award for someone who
redeemed
dunk
themselves?
At one point, but not,
I think this is like this is like a previous Razzie winner who's redeemed themselves.
This is us going, sorry we were so mean.
I think all these ladies are very talented. Pam Anderson, Demi Moore, Megan Fox.
I mean, I do generally think the Razzies are like kind of stupid and mean, but also like, come on, you made a bad movie, just own it. Halle Berry accepted her Razzie the day after she accepted her Oscar. Everyone should be that humble.
I fucking love that. Well, and everyone wants to be taken so seriously. It's
Yeah.
like, no, I feel like it's kind of like when Shyamalan got up for what he win? SAG. He won the best.
Oh yeah,
actor,
for the SAG.
Yeah.
The
He was like,
SAG.
I'm gonna be the
And
best.
he got up there and said, I just want to
Yeah.
be the best.
Good for you.
Like, yeah, dude, fucking go.
Yeah,
Like, why's everything got to be so goddamn serious? You're fucking playing pretend.
I know. More of these actors
Like,
got to
come on.
accept these Razzies in person. Coppola should have went. Anyway, we should talk about a good movie.
John, what do you think of my Razzie? What do you think of my Razzie?
What do you think of this Razzie I got?
Yeah, apologize to everyone who turned onto this episode and got like 10 minutes of ooh the Razzies.
Oh, if repeat listeners know to expect nonsense.
But honestly, you're welcome for giving you so much Madam Web content at the start of this episode, because a day without Madam Web is a day without sunshine.
And South American spiders. Oh,
South American spiders.
Wow.
I'm giving South African spiders a bad name. But no, we got a really good movie this week. I am a mark for these journalism movies. I am a fucking mark ass. There's only one that I can think of off the top of my head that I'm like not crazy about, which is The Post. But
Okay.
The direct prequel to this.
the direct prequel, yes.
The Watergate cinematic universe.
But no, like if I'm in a room and this movie now comes on or fucking Spotlight comes on,
Spotlight.
right in the fucking seat. I'm shaking my head. I'm forgetting we're not a video podcast. But yes, I'm sitting my ass down. Let me I've got the Wikipedia up. Let me read some paragraphs here real quick.
Introduce this very topical movie from 1976. And that's not
Son of a
sarcasm.
No.
50-year-old movie.
Yeah.
Very topical 50-year-old movie. All the President's Men is a 1976 American biographical political thriller film about the Watergate scandal that brought down the presidency of Richard Nixon. Directed by Alan J. Pakula with a screenplay by William Goldman. It's based on the 1974 nonfiction book by Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, the two journalists investigating the scandal for the Washington Post. The film stars Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman as Woodward and Bernstein, respectively. It was produced by Walter Koblenz for Redford's Wildwood Enterprises. The film was nominated for multiple Oscars, Golden Globe, BAFTA categories. Jason Roberts won Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his portrayal as Bren Bradley. Man, he gave a very underwhelming speech that I watched. In 2010, it was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry for the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, aesthetically significant. 2010 seems late for that. I feel like it should have been like years and years before that.
Well, it happened eventually.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of good movies, so it takes a while to get there.
True.
Plus, if they put them all in at once, then they have nothing for the next year.
Yeah.
True.
And that's no fun.
Like, is it like the Hall of Fame in a sport where you have to wait a certain amount of years to be eligible? Like, oh,
it is.
All the President's Men first year eligible. We're gonna vote it in. Didn't get enough votes. Crazy. But no, I really like this movie. I always worry about watching an older movie. For some reason, my brain's like, older movies aren't going to be as good. Like I still have that part of my brain that when I'm watching an older movie, I'm like, is this not going to be good? Is this going to be kind of slow? But now I feel like I do feel a switch that's starting to turn where I don't feel like that for old movies, but instead now I'm starting to feel like that for newer movies.
The same thing happened to me. I used to be like, do I want to watch a movie from the 70s? And now I'm like, do I want to watch a movie from 2025?
And I know that like The Gorge just came out and I've been hearing nothing but great things about it, but I'm like, it's just going to be all CGI. Do I really want to put myself through that? Or do I want to rewatch like The Thing?
Yeah. I'm just like, do I really want, like, it could be good, but is it just gonna be one of those, like, they're gonna quip at the camera and it's gonna look like they're not in the same building? Or I can go watch a movie that had Gene Hackman in it.
I can go watch a movie where there's shit going on in the background and there's real background actors and like this feels like a living space instead of a fucking screen everybody's standing in front of.
I can go watch a movie.
Because it is an actual space.
I can go watch a movie that they filmed in the volume and no one's really around and it's not about anything. Or I can go watch a movie where they stand behind the boys.
God, I forgot about that line. No, this was a good movie. We're still about halfway through The Wheel, Son of the Wheel, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And this might be towards the top.
Yeah, I don't know if it topples The Beekeeper, but it's up there.
Yeah, Beekeeper's really good, and Beekeeper just came out today, so I'm like, oh, I kind of want to rewatch The Beekeeper.
It's never a bad time.
To be or not to be, I choose to be.
Someone
what a
even
fucking
Now
line.
imagine if Robert Redford had said that line before he shot Richard Nixon. Then this would have gotten 5 stars from me.
Yeah. Oh, The Beekeeper. Someone even pinged me today. They were like, I just saw a trailer for the Jason Statham movie, A Working Man. And all I could think about was Real M. Fresh and his love for The Beekeeper. And I'm like, buddy, you picked a perfect day to see that trailer. It's The Beekeeper.
Oh, buddy, I've got something for you.
The Beekeeper episode of Stand and Watch just dropped.
And that's a good one. Hey, gang, if you haven't listened to that one, finish this episode first and then go listen to that one. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Is that the one you listened to get ready today?
I mean, it was the new ones, so of course.
That's valid.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, Matthew. My favorite guest so far. Do we want to get to our dad-approved letterbox reviews?
We do. I have mine pulled up already, so I will go first. This review comes to us from Peter Labuza. Labuza? I've heard it both ways. He's neither a patron nor a pro of Letterboxd. Tisk. He gave this movie 4 stars and wrote, all-time The Boys canon.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a similar one. This is a pro letterboxer, Alyssa Heflin. She gave the movie 5 stars and a heart. And she said, fuck it. Let's stand by The Boys.
There it is.
Got to back The Boys. Matthew, did you happen to get a dad-approved letterbox review?
Does dad approved mean it has to be positive or negative?
Doesn't matter as long as it's something a dad might say.
Well, this hot take, I think this movie is good. What? So I was looking just like, what is the controversial opinion? What are people who don't like this movie? What do they say?
Their name Richard Nixon.
I know. Well, I had this moment. My little dad approved, and this is not indicative of my dad, but it's certainly indicative of some people's dads. Maybe evidenced by the little parenthetical at the end of Blake DC's half-star review of this movie, which just adds at the end of this person's rant. Also, Nixon didn't even do anything that bad. They just hated to see him winning.
Oh, was this an entire rant? Like a
little bit.
Like a paragraphs long rant?
I mean, it's about other stuff as well.
Oh.
Primarily saying the movie is good, but well, this person begins by saying that they still remember when they got in trouble senior year for saying, quote, "No one is more full of themselves than teachers, doctors, and journalists."
Oh no, I have to find this review.
I will send it to you.
Please.
But I just didn't expect anyone under the age of like 55 to be confidently saying in the year of our Lord 2025, actually justice for Richard Nixon.
I need to find this review.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, I mean, a Nixon supporting dad would say this.
Would definitely not like this movie.
Oh,
Could you imagine
goodness.
he's wearing like his Nixon t-shirt from like the 70s and he's like, what am I going to do? What's this movie? All the President's Men? I wonder what that's about. And then immediately his day is ruined because he realizes it's Watergate at the beginning.
Oh,
he walks into the theater
It's
doing Nixon with his Nixon Aggie 72 button.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to read this whole review.
Please do.
Okay.
Put him on blast.
Okay, here you go, Blake DC. I still remember when I got in trouble senior year for saying no one is more full of themselves than teachers, doctors, and journalists. I'm not going to deny that the film is competently made. It has a very strong aesthetic, but I despise this romanticization of journalists as if they are some special class of people. This film did serious damage to the American psyche, so no journalists are objective. Robert Redford was just too sexy for back then that everyone got psyoped. Bracket, also Nixon didn't even do anything that bad. The cover-up was worse than the crime. Silence. They just hated to see him winning. Hashtag justice for the Cubans.
I hate this.
Oh my god. Justice for the Cubans.
Justice for the Cubans. And in the time you read that, I found another one that is just really, really good that I'm going to read real quick. This is from Sean Glennis, who's a Letterboxd Pro. Gave it 3.5 stars, and he said, "Journalism is so cool. I wish it was real."
Oh, it used to be.
Aww.
He's not wrong.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Journalists used to write their books after the stories came out.
Yeah. You know, if Wormstein or Woodburn sat on this material and wrote a book. Wait a minute. No. They reported and then wrote the book. Okay.
Yeah,
I was kidding. They reported it. They wrote the book. They made the movie.
Yeah, they reported it, then they wrote about reporting it in a book, and then they made the movie on the book. But
If it's
It was
done
a very quick turnaround, but it was.
Yeah.
They did write the book after Nixon was out of office, which actually probably my biggest problem with the movie is just, you know, a problem with older movies is how they age, and the one way this is aged the worst is just this just is made with the assumption that we all remember Watergate, which happened 3 years ago at the time this movie comes out. Whereas I got to the end of this sitting here nearly 50 years later and was like, wow, that was a great movie. And I totally understood everything that happened. And I'm definitely not looking up Wikipedia.com Watergate scandal.
Before we get into our little criticism sandwich, of which it probably won't be much of a sandwich, I turned this
All
movie
bread,
on.
baby.
Yeah, this is gonna be all bread. I turned this movie on. About 10 minutes in, I pause it. I Google Watergate. I scrolled. I read a bit of the Wikipedia page. Okay, so that's what Watergate was. I watched the whole movie. I Google Watergate again. Okay. I don't know what the hell Watergate was.
I do agree, because the first time, like, they're throwing names like left and right, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't remember. And then like a big thing happens, like, wait, did they say that name earlier? So I get that side of it. But then watching it the second time, I was like, oh no, I know all these names now. I literally had to watch it the second time to like keep up with the names. So I get that side of, like, the movie just assumes you're read up on Watergate back in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even mind the aspect of it where like they mention names and none of the people they mention ever show up because they're just investigating them. I kind of like that. And I don't even mind they're just mentioning the names because like I'm watching them investigate things. So I don't mind that. I don't know what the hell Watergate is, and they don't really bother to explain what they're investigating other than we're investigating Watergate. This is what happened. I'm like,
Yeah,
great. What's
They
okay?
they mention the names enough that it definitely is like, okay, if you missed the first time they said someone's name, you should probably get it by the 15th time they mention someone's name.
They do a very good job. I can follow their investigation. I know what they're doing and investigating where their leads are going, but I still have no idea what this scandal was.
Well, and that's something that I think is like, I also think that's a on purpose choice, because I was literally just watching the scene where all the editors are meeting, and one of them makes a joke about Watergate and like how half of their readers don't even know, or half of their readers are tired of reading about Watergate because they don't really know what they're reading about. I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't know what the fuck's going on either. I'm glad we're having this conversation, because this movie did make me feel dumb on the first watch.
Okay, none of us are alone.
You just go in and you're like, yeah, Nixon did a bad.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end and you're like,
Yeah, they got him.
hey, what kind of bad did Nixon do?
I don't know, but
it also stops about halfway through before it gets to all of the stuff that Nixon actually wound up resigning over, and they were definitely going to impeach him for. So there's part of that too.
Oh yeah, because the whole movie is them investigating, and by the time they actually get to like Nixon's involvement, the movie's over.
Yeah, when they realize the CIA and the FBI are like wrapped up in it, and they're like, oh shit, we're in danger. And then like 10 minutes later, they're wrapping up with like the stories being really cool scenes of them like typing on the keyboard. But when they found out they were in danger, I was like, oh, we've got 30 minutes left. No, we got like 10.
I saw a lot of Letterboxd reviews that are like, the only problem with this movie is that it's not 6 hours long. And I'm like, yeah, I would watch another 3 hours of this.
You just did watch The Brutalist, so I believe you.
I did. I did do that.
Soon to be Best Picture, The Brutalist.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, could be worse.
We'll see if
it could be Emilia
we'll
Perez.
see if you wind up cutting that joke in 2 days.
Oh, I don't cut any jokes.
The jokes stay so people can see us making asses of ourselves.
Yeah.
But just so they know, I'm Team Honora. But
I'm team
knows?
I'm team anything but Emilia Perez or now The Brutalist.
Now The Brutalist.
Yeah. That is
It's a
I'm
tie between those two.
Do we still have time to write in The Beekeeper?
I've been posting that all the time.
You know what? Conan's hosting. He'll make a beekeeper joke. I guarantee it.
I hope Paul Rudd does his Mac and Me bit. That's my one wish. Just
That would be amazing, actually.
Get him up there to present something. He shows a clip, and it's Mac and Me.
They are doing clips again this year. They're not doing where the stars walk out to talk about the other star. They are doing the clips again this year. So there's a good chance.
Get Paul Rudd out there. He can pretend he's doing something, and then boom, he shows Mac and Me.
Oh, now I hope it's happening. You might have. Oof. Yeah.
Maybe 3 people in that auditorium will understand what's happening, but it'll be the greatest thing ever. It'll be the greatest thing to ever happen at the Oscars.
But you better snip this audio and put it out before Sunday, because I want people to know you have a crystal ball if it does happen. No, so I know we kind of jumped around on the sandwich, but I really like this movie. I really like what it's like Matt said. The investigation's very like what they're doing, why they're doing what they're doing. It's very clear. It's a well shot movie. I like the big newsroom. I like any movie that like puts you in that newsroom and like you can kind of watch and see like the shit going on in the background. Like there's one scene where they're all watching. It's either a debate or someone's like dropping out of a race, and you see them all react to the same thing. They're gathered around a TV. Feels communal. Feels communal as hell. And then there's 2 scenes later on in the movie where Woodburn are typing, and the TV's on in the foreground with something going on, and whatever's going on the TV is kind of playing back into whatever they're typing. I think one of the lines is like, we're fighting for democracy. And it's him typing. It's like, yeah, he fucking is, man.
I love that shot at the end where he's typing his final report in the TV. It's the split diopter shot, and the TV is Nixon's inauguration. And you're like, yeah, get him.
Get that man.
Yeah.
It was so good. And the opening, too, is maybe my favorite use of the, date and time title card, where it's just incredibly silent, and then all of a sudden, just like, bam, and it's the keys of a typewriter typing out, June 1971 or whenever the movie actually starts.
And it's so close up, like you can see the papers like got whole, like you can see the layers of the paper and see like the ink hitting the different layers. It's a really good shot.
You see one letter at a time. I love that.
There are so many cool, great shots throughout this movie, which helps keep it very visually engaging, because the plot is just Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman go to a place, ask a question, kind of not get an answer, go to another place, ask a question, kind of not get an answer, come back to the newsroom, repeat for 2.5 hours. And yet it's so engaging. It's tense in a great way, and it looks awesome.
I think one of my favorite shots, they're in the Library of Congress at one point. Is that that's that?
Yes.
Where they're like going through the records of who's pulled what book. And there's the only sound is like the sound of people talking in the library, and then them digging through the little leaflets of paper. And the camera just pans, like it scoots up, and you just see the big circle of desk with like the old timey lights. Great fucking shot.
And that's when the score kicks in for the first time, which I noticed because it is like half an hour in, and I'm like, wow, there is no music in this movie. It's very sparing, but that's like the first time where there is like background score. Normally it's just people talking and typewriters.
I do think the sound of typewriters is musical. It's music to my ears.
And I like the spare use of music. I was watching this kind of wishing that more modern movies would do this.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much. There's a reason everyone's always like, I have to watch it with the subtitles on. I need to like us older millennials have to have the subtitles on because there's so much fucking background noise.
It's a very it's a very straight-laced movie, and that's like for the better. Like it's two men, it's the boys. They're asking questions, they're getting results.
And I like how quick the central conflict between the two of them, like, because Dustin Hoffman picks up Robert Redford's like draft, and he's like, I'm polishing it. He's always smoking a cigarette. He's like, I like what you did. I don't like the way you did it. Redford hits him with, and then later on, Hoffman lights up a cigarette in the elevator. And he's like, is there anywhere you won't smoke? Like, there's just dumb little jokes between them, and very like, I realized this watching it before I came down here again that it's got some comedy chops to it.
It's in a way it almost shouldn't work because it's like it's a journalism movie, right? There's not much action. It's just these guys just going around asking questions. There's very little music. It's kind of a buddy comedy. Like it's kind of a buddy movie between them. It's a true it's like a true crime story. It's a political drama. It's a conspiracy like thriller. None of those should work together.
But it's great.
And it's so good.
Quotable, very quotable movie too. Like follow the money. Like I didn't realize. Is this where Follow the Money comes from?
I think
it is apparently.
Yeah.
It's apparently not in the book or any of the stuff beforehand. It comes from the movie.
Follow the Money. That's incredible. This is the second movie on this wheel so far where we discovered where a phrase came from.
We should start a chart for that too, along with the face acting chart.
Look at that.
Where there's another line. I don't think it's as famous, but they're like, I think they've hit a dead stop. And they're like, wait a minute, didn't what's her name go with it? Like they repeatedly say, don't you go with him? Don't you? And I forgot that, like, instead of dating, people used to say, don't you go with him? I don't know. It's just a fun turn of phrase.
Oh, the 70s.
It was the 70s, baby.
We could smoke anywhere.
Oh, what else was there?
Nixon was in office. I'm trying to think of a third 70s thing to make this joke work. Not happening.
I'm going to pull some quotes here.
Pull those quotes.
Yeah, well, here's the one Bob Woodward. Is there any place you don't smoke? Man, these are all wordy quotes. I don't know if you guys know this. These are journalists. They like their words. Where's the goddamn story?
Talking in this movie?
There's talking. Where's the goddamn story? The money's the key to whatever this is. Says who? Deep Throat. Who? Oh, that's Woodward's garage freak. His source in the executive department. Garage freak. Jesus, what kind of crazy fucking story is this? Who did you say? He's on Deep Background. I call him Deep Throat.
Which would be terrible writing if that wasn't historical fact.
I love this exchange at the beginning between Rosenfeld and Bernstein. Bernstein, why don't you finish one story before trying to get on another? I finished it. The Virginia legislator story, I finished it. All right, give it to me. I'm just polishing it. Again, very comedic movie.
That felt very real, too, to the writing process.
Yeah.
It felt like I was watching this movie. I was like, they're just like me for real. But I write for hard drive and we don't have a writer's room. And we have editors.
No, you know what? You know what this movie does really well? And I mean, a lot of 70s movies do this. A lot of older movies do this, but this movie does it really well. It just feels like a bunch of guys. These are real people, right? I love a movie that's filled with people who look like people and not like, California veneers and your plastic surgeries and iPhone face. Just people. These all look like normal people, talking like normal people. They're all in the same location. There's always stuff going on in the background. There's always typewriters clanking away. This is a real lived-in place. These are real human beings, and I'm along for the ride.
It doesn't feel like a movie.
I do love the fact that you're like, I love an old movie like this one where everyone looks like a normal person. You say about a movie starring Robert Redford, who may be one of the most handsome men who's ever lived.
Well, you always got to have the one movie star, but like everybody around, like him and Hoffman. I mean, even Hoffman, you can kind of make the argument he looks like a normal person. But like, other than Robert Redford, this is a movie filled with normal people, normal-looking people.
Yeah,
I'm sure every newsroom has their hottie.
Hey, the Daily Planet has Clark Kent. All the presidents. The Washington Post has fictional Bob Woodward. You know, and Hard Drive has Nick. That's how it goes.
And I will say I fell in love during this movie. I don't know her name, but it's the woman in green who is being interviewed by, I think it was Dustin Hoffman.
Yes.
Like I forget, but I was like, oh my god, she's like the girl next door.
Oh, at
She
the
works for
very,
the
very
government.
start?
No, towards the middle of it when he's like like trying to get the names out of her.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. That's a good scene.
It's so tense because she just like she's sitting up. She looks like very uncomfortable.
I think, and
The
that's,
acting is
yeah, that's the best.
But I was
thing
still
you
in
can
love
say
with
about-
her. I was like, oh my god, I want a time machine so I can go meet you in the past.
It's a testament to this movie that a scene where Dustin Hoffman is just asking questions to a lady is as tense as it is.
You can feel the fear in everyone. Like there's an early scene where Dustin Hoffman calls the librarian. I think it's Dustin Hoffman. He calls the librarian. He's like, hey, can I get a list of the books that so-and-so checked out? She's like, oh, he was just in here doing all this. And then like a minute later, she comes back on. She's like, I've never even heard of that man. He didn't get any books. I was mistaken. Bye. And then
Woodward calls.
Redford calls. And then she's like, oh, I never talked to him, Mr. Bernstein. You must be mistaken. Goodbye. And so you can feel the fear in everybody. Everybody they're like crossing paths with on this investigation. And you can also feel their frustration is like, again, they get wall after wall after wall of people not wanting to talk and not having any kind of backbone. And again, this is set in 1976, not 2025.
Very
Reminder.
It was a little unintentional comedy for me though, just that it's a full hour, maybe almost hour and a half of this movie where it's just like, hi, we're from the Washington Post, and everyone's immediate reaction is like, look, I don't know what you're into. I'm a good person. I don't want to talk about any of this. I don't know anything. It's just like the darkest fear in their eyes. After a while, it's like, you all seem the most guilty. If you were trying to hide that some nefarious shit is happening, you are doing a terrible job.
Well, so I'm looking at the cast list, and there's like 30 people on here, but I can only recall seeing like 5 or 10 people because everyone else is either in the background or they're on the phone. So like you don't see half of these people. Like someone is cast as that person, but you don't see them in the scene. The other thing I really like about this movie that good journalism movies do is they talk shit about their competing newspaper. There's a few times they're like, God damn it, the New York Times.
Goddamn Times.
Which again, we're looking from 2025. I agree, but also rich coming from the Washington Post.
Oh my god. I watched this before the recent developments at the Post, and I was still thinking, oh man, the Washington Post used to be serious business. What happened?
Hey, democracy used to die in the darkness. Now we turn the lights on and say, all right, you die with the lights on now, bud. Go peacefully.
What a topical 50-year-old movie.
Fuck.
I keep thinking about that last shot because that last split diopter shot with Redford typing away and the Nixon inauguration and the crowd chanted 4 more years, 4 more years while he's typing away his little expose that's gonna bring him down. And I'm like, oh, so they were nutcases back then too.
Yeah, that scene was really, really hard to watch. I'm gonna be honest.
And then it just ends with just a little, again, typewriter montage of just the headlines of every single like official we've mentioned and have not seen getting thrown in jail and Nixon resigning. It's like, that was a little cathartic, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like it's great. He's like, oh great, they got him. And I'm like, oh, that sometimes I'm watching them like I had to remind myself, oh, this isn't fiction. They really did get him.
Really happened. I was gonna ask because I was pondering that last scene as well. Not him typing with the TV on in the foreground, but when they cut to the typewriter and type out everything that happens. I don't think the typewriting at the end is fully necessary. I think you end it with him typing and then the screen going black. But, I mean,
you could have.
I disagree only because I do think the movie ends in kind of a weird place.
Yeah, it ends in the middle. It ends in the middle of the story.
It ends almost like at the low point of the story. It's like before anything really happened. It's like the stories have gotten out and the White House has kind of been like, this is all bullshit. This is not real. And they're like, oh no, we didn't get it. But it's like, we'll keep writing it. So I do feel at least maybe it was a little necessary to remind people. It's like, I know it looks bad right now, but
they did
eventually we did get him.
Yeah. Yeah, because it does. And again, like, I guess they didn't want to make a 6-hour movie, but I would have watched it. But yeah, it ends at like the end of Act 2 almost, where you're like, oh, they finally figured out, how high this goes. And in another movie, there's the third act, them unraveling the administration. But this movie's just like, nope, they got it. They got it, and then eventually they got him.
This movie's like, no, go read the fucking book.
If only Robert Redford had, MCU style, made a second movie about the Watergate hearings and about Nixon's impeachment that just has him and Dustin Hoffman like in the background in one scene.
He's a coward. He's a fence sitter, and I don't like him.
He's a fence.
Yeah, a lot of fence sitters in this movie. I don't hear as much complaining as Civil War got.
Oh, you know what's a fun little detail I like in this movie is like all the times it like cuts to like them like on the news like interviewing like one of the people they've accused of being involved, and like, oh, the Washington Post with their lies. They just don't like Republicans. Those corrupt journalists at the Post. I'm like, oh my god, what year was this made?
Again, this is a 50-year-old fucking movie.
In some ways, 1972 was over 50 years ago, and in some ways, it was not all that long ago.
Yeah.
It was just yesterday. Just happened yesterday.
This is a good movie. This is
man.
It's one of those movies. I didn't type any notes for this movie because I was just I turned it on, I was watching it, and a lot of times I watch these movies and something happens and I have a thought and I write it down in my notes. I'm like, no, I'm not. I didn't want to look away from the screen. I had to be with the boys the whole way.
This is and I know I complain about 2-hour movies. I think way too many movies are past that 2-hour mark and don't need to. This one breezed by. Just like you were saying, I would watch 5 more hours of this movie and be totally okay with it.
Yeah, it just holds you. Which again, it is a movie that is entirely like 1 or 2 dudes go to a place, ask someone questions, and then the person they're asking questions to basically says no comment in so many words.
There's essentially there's 4 types of scenes in this, right? There's Robert Redford or Dustin Hoffman call someone on the phone, get hung up on. Robert Redford and or Dustin Hoffman go to someone's house, say, hi, we're from the Washington Post, get the door closed on their face. Robert Redford talks to Deep Throat or them in the newsroom. Like, that's it. That's the whole movie. And it's so good.
And I just realized this is also where denial comes from, which again is also being used today in it's still being used in 2025.
We've still done you.
Well, and I really like the end of this movie when they're finally had it. They've had all these people like kind of like tell them to fuck off, and Woodward goes to Deep Throat and he's like, no, like I don't need your fucking riddles. Just tell me what the fuck I need to know. And Deep Throat finally finds his spine, gets off the fence, and kind of like nudges them in the right direction and informs them they're in danger.
Which again, that's real historical fact. A journalist brought down a president in part because he went multiple times in the middle of the night to a random parking garage in Virginia, and some dude, at least according to this movie, like lit a cigarette, spoke in full riddles at him, and then just disappeared into the darkness. It was beautifully cinematic, but it was very like, what are you saying, sir? Do you think you're hopeful?
Maybe he knew it would be turned into a movie one day.
He's like, get Hoffman to play me.
The last
Like, we can't
thing,
cover his face.
the last thing Deep Throat says to Woodward is, I always like that Hal Holbrook guy. Get him to play me. And Woodward's like, what are you talking about?
He's jotting these down as he's saying that. He's jotting down casting ideas.
You're a Redford. I've always said it.
I really love this movie. It's just talking about it in today's climate's is really bringing me down a little bit.
It is one of those movies that you watch and you go, they really don't make them like that anymore. People are right. They don't make them like they used to.
They don't. Like, if I showed my racist uncle this movie, would he like this movie, or would he be like, no, fucking journalist? Like, would he be rooting against the journalist the whole time? Like, no, don't give him the scoop. Don't give him the scoop. Fucking asshole.
It is a movie that makes a strong case that older movies maybe are better.
Yeah, it's weird how that switch just flipped recently. It's like, oh shit.
And
I gotta start watching more old movies.
I'm not even one of those people. I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, all the movies today suck. Only old movies are good. I'm not one of those people. But when you watch a movie like this, it's hard not to think, maybe that's true.
You're saying you're not a cinephile, Matt? You're not a cinephile? You're not an enjoyer of film?
Like Madam Web?
Look,
And they're South American spiders. I got it right this time.
You got there. I'm so proud of you.
Look, I've always said that true cinephile's favorite movie will be some schlocky straight-to-DVD action film.
Do we have any? We kind of talked about the negatives already. Do we have any other negatives besides the fact that this is a timely film?
I have no negatives.
Our biggest negative is that it just makes us sad watching it in 2025.
My biggest negative is that I was watching this movie and thinking, I'm really sad that these two journalists are really old now and don't do work anymore. Like,
they're both still alive, right?
Yeah, but I'm watching this movie thinking, man, it's really sad we can't get these guys back together again. They got a job to do.
Yeah. Although, I guess in their slight defense, it might be a little easier to do the job now. One thing that struck me was just how much of this movie... You couldn't make this movie today because journalism is so much more boring now. Like, all this, tense calling around, how do we find, this person, and trying to trace the tree. I'm like, oh, right, you don't have LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You can't just Google... Oh, this guy? Cool, let me pop that into Google. In 15 minutes, I have his Facebook. And, I've got 20 people that can verify it. It's like, oh, right, you did have to just call people and go to places back then.
I want to say that Spotlight kind of did it, but I think that movie takes place in 2006, so also not really.
2000, it takes place between 99 and 2001, I think, or 2002.
Is it? Oh, yeah, okay. So
there was the
internet.
There's a part in the middle of the movie where the September 11th attacks happen, and they're like, okay, we kind of got to put this story on the back burner, and then they come back to finish it.
So there was the internet, but not the internet.
Very brief.
Not enough to make it not boring.
We didn't have Zuckerberg's creepy Facebook rating app yet at that time. Close. It was close. It was on the way.
We were almost there, but...
He was in high school getting shot down at the time. It would just be a few more years, and then he would be in college getting shot down all the time. Fucking dweeb.
Then he could do something about it.
I'm angry. I've had enough, and I'm gonna do something about. What's the fucking line? I don't even know. The fucking line.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
Another very timely 50-year-old movie.
Stop it. Stop it. I'm already depressed. I'm already so fucking depressed. I like how messy the journalists are. There's fucking paper pads everywhere.
Yeah, just no organization.
It's like how... I was pondering. I was like, did people lose stories in messes? And they're like, well, I had a scoop. It's fucking gone. And then...
I love them just throwing papers at each other's desks. I love them sitting around a table with their feet up.
Yeah, man, being a journalist back in the 70s and 80s must have kicked ass.
Yeah, I love them all sitting around a table, ties undone, feet up. Some of them are eating, going over which stories are we going to run on the front page. That's my shit, man. That's a movie.
Coming home smelling of cigarettes and stale coffee, which, to be fair, was probably about how 30% of people in the 70s came home.
Oh, you guys are romanticizing the shit out of it, and I just want to be there right now. So that big, just the what do they call them, like the bullpens, just a fun little looking space to be in. Again, it felt like a fucking community, whereas opposed to everything's like freelance now.
Yeah,
I mean, they had a room full of fucking editors. There were like 12 guys in there. There was the metro, like just all these different beats, and now it's nothing. It's nothing.
No one's sitting around a room these days going, "We're standing behind the boys."
No,
They're like, what does Mr. Bezos say?
Yeah, they're like, who writes for us again?
Next script idea. It's just beat for beat this movie, except it's like some weird IGN review. That's what it is. The editors meeting, they're talking about Zelda, and it's like, did they have? Like, were they smoking this much in 2015? What is happening?
This exact movie about like a modern newsroom would be a comedy. Like, do they write for us? How many pieces have they written for us? They're not a staff writer, are they? No, we only have 3 of those.
This movie with Bernstein and Woodward are freelance, and they spend half the movie trying to get their invoice taken.
They spend half the movie coming up with the perfect pitch email. Okay, who's accepted?
And it gets turned down.
Who's accepted?
Separately because they don't live in the same city.
The one newspaper that takes it is the Sun, and they're like, no.
Bernstein's in DC, Woodward's out in like Ohio or something.
They have a shared Google Doc.
The ending scene where they which is a great scene, going back to positives of after the last time Woodward talks to Deep Throat, he just barges into Bernstein's apartment, cranks the music up super loud, and they're like communicating because they think the apartment's bugged on the typewriter. But just that, but it's a Google Doc.
Well, now I want to see modern. Now I want to see modern day All the President's Men, which we might not be too far off from.
At the end of the movie, they don't type up their final report. They can it because Bezos said we don't run this kind of piece anymore.
Aww.
They can it, but you think it's gonna be Bezos, B guy. You think it's gonna be B guy, but they look at each other and they're like, "We could just write a book."
They post it on their Substack.
I was just about to say they can it, and they're like, so it's going on the Substack then?
Paid subscribers only.
And then the post-credit scene is them going to do like they're doing their podcast tour across all these different podcasts that have like 5 listeners each.
The sequel, they start their own podcast.
All the Podcasters Men coming to theaters 2029.
All the Podcasters Men. Well, now we have to write it. Now it has trademark, copyright. You're not in this room, you can't take it.
All right, I'll get the Google Doc going.
I've got the blood pact ready. Let's go.
I'll create the Substack.
All right, it is time to rate this movie out of 5. I will start. This is a 5.
5.
I gave it like a 4. Very, very good movie.
That's fair.
Love it.
Matthew just hates journalists. That's what we're learning tonight.
I think when I first watched this, my immediate rating on Letterboxd was like a 4.5. But the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I was wrong. This is a 5.
That's about where I am. I'm like, it's great, no notes. I'm just like, is this a movie that when I finished it, I immediately wanted to go back and watch again? And the answer is no. I will want to watch this again at some point, but, I think 4 is about where I live.
That's fair.
Matt, where did this rank on your Oscars piece, where the best picture winners ranked by how good they'd be with Muppets?
Did this win Best Picture?
I'm pretty sure this one
This did not win Best Picture.
Who won? That was a hard
Rocky.
Oh,
this lost to Rocky. Oh,
remember that was a really good year. Remember we talked about
Well, I had this moment too because I was looking on the Wikipedia and was like, what do you mean like neither Hoffman nor Redford got like nominated for anything? I'm like, who even won? And then I looked and I'm like,
Network.
Oh, it was Network.
Yes,
I remember. Acting Awards, which is yeah.
We talked about this last week. We went on like a real long tangent that we had to like bump our recording back because like we were talking about this till 2 a.m. Like we went through every single like Oscars to see which were good lineups. And this was like one of the best lineups maybe ever. Rocky, All the President's Men, Bound for Glory, Network, and Taxi Driver. Like, that's the Oscars equivalent of the 2025 Razzies.
That's number one. That's number one lineup of Best Picture. I honestly think they should go back down to 5 because
Okay.
10's too many.
Yeah.
So if we're
10's
saying
too many.
this, Rocky is the Madam Web. All the President's Men is
Megalopolis. Hey, you see this?
Network is the Joker 2.
Yeah. I mean, that is about someone who's mad as hell and isn't going to take it anymore.
Not gonna take it anymore.
Taxi Driver is the Borderlands, and Bound for Glory is Reagan. Yep, we did it. We did it, boys.
There we go.
Look,
All right.
I'm looking at all 5 of these Best Picture nominees from the 1977 Oscars, and every one of these men in all these movies just needed therapy. That's all they needed. They just needed to go therapy, and they would have been fine.
Well, yeah, but that's true for pretty much every Oscars before like 2015.
Don't you know that in the 70s, therapy was only for weak women?
Oh, man.
And the therapy was great because it was just Valium.
And if that couldn't treat them, it was the electric shock.
Men will write an expose about Nixon before they go to therapy.
The real question is, and actually this probably will be easy also, is how dad certified it is.
Am I a Republican dad?
I think if you're a Republican dad, this is a 0.
Yeah, and if you're any other dad, this is like a 100%.
I would say so.
I certainly hope this is 100% because this is the DVD I did get my actual literal father for Christmas. So
fantastic.
Was he pumped?
Hi, Dad. Hope you're listening. I love you.
What was his response when he opened the present and saw All the President's Men?
I don't know. I actually didn't go home last Christmas.
No.
Thanks for bringing that up, Nick.
You should ask him. You should ask him what his response was. I want a full report in my DMs.
Did he text you about it afterwards? Thanks for the movie, kid.
I don't believe so, but it was an interesting end of year for everyone.
Well, I'm gonna say I think if you're a non-Republican father, this is 100% dad rating. I think you know what, if you're a Republican father, I still think you'll enjoy the movie as a movie, but then you'll hate what they're doing in it. Like, why is this movie about the bad guys?
This is a horror movie to Republican fathers.
Yeah, but it's a good one.
Like,
I don't know how many modern Republicans love Nixon necessarily. Maybe more than I think. I'm just trying to think, if I tell my Republican dad, watch All the President's Men, my hypothetical Republican dad, I wanted to say.
Okay.
As I just talked about my actual dad. But if I'm talking to a hypothetical Republican dad and I'm like, you can either watch a certified good movie, All the President's Men, or certified bad movie, Reagan, I think they'll be more mad that I called Reagan a bad movie.
True.
Okay, so 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100% dad certified. I think this is only like the second or third movie that's been 100%.
We should start keeping track.
We should. That means I have to go back and listen to the other episodes.
I had a list, but my kids shredded it. It's somewhere. It's somewhere.
I should go back and listen to how he ranked all the other movies, but then I got to hear my own voice.
Yeah, it's bad enough that I have to hear it.
I apologize to all the listeners who have to hear my voice.
We've been trying to get an AI to like reverb him or like change it, but we're also against it. So.
I was once told I have the voice of a sitcom neighbor, so I'll take it.
The neighbor
that is very accurate, actually.
I don't know if they meant it as a compliment or an insult, but I took it as a compliment because I've always wanted to be a sitcom neighbor.
I'm saying easy compliment.
My dream as a child was always to grow up to become Kramer.
That's the best sitcom neighbor, right?
Yeah.
There's a Substack for you, Matt. Best sitcom neighbors.
Ooh.
Sitcom neighbors ranked.
Who are good ones? We're getting really off track here, but okay, Kramer's got to be number one.
Home Improvement guy with the whole him behind the fence.
Yeah, the Home Improvement guy's good. Was Larry their neighbor on Three's Company, or was he just his friend?
That's a good question, because I was going to ask the same question about Patton Oswalt in King of Queens.
I think he was just their friend. Do his parents and Everybody Loves Raymond count as neighbors?
They are neighbors. They're like live right across the street. They're neighbors.
Okay. What else? Do Joey and Chandler
Barney?
count as neighbors?
Yep.
I was thinking, but they're kind of part of the main cast.
That's
Would their neighbor
true.
be the naked guy?
Ugly naked guy? I guess. Maybe Mr. Heckles?
Well, Barney Rubble counts. I know it's a cartoon, but it's got sitcom vibes. They got a laugh
It's
track.
the Honeymooners, but animated. It counts.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Lucy have some pretty out there
Oh
neighbors.
yeah, are Fred and Ethel their neighbors?
I thought they were just their friends.
Are they friends?
I'll have
I
to do
don't
some
know.
research for this list.
Will and Grace were neighbors too.
With each other?
I think because Will lived by himself. Jack was maybe Jack was his neighbor.
I think if they're in the main cast. Well,
Yeah, it
no,
doesn't
but
count.
no, but then again, then you can't count Kramer.
Yeah. Did
True.
Charlie Sheen and 2.5 Men have a neighbor? Did he have a pesky neighbor? It was like, hey, stop banging supermodels in your backyard.
I don't think so. I'm gonna Google this right now. This is so off topic, and we still have more podcasts. Sitcom neighbors.
Here, while you Google that, I'm gonna lead us through our goofballs. So now is my favorite part of the show, where we're not mad, we're just disappointed at these IMDb goofballs who hop on to IMDb after seeing a great movie and just pick it apart with these dumb notes that don't even make sense half the time. So I'm gonna read mine here. This one I loved. Above the desk of Carl Bernstein is a large button with the Baltimore Bullets NBA logo. The Baltimore Bullets did not move to Washington, D.C. until October 1974 season. The film covers the period from June 72 until January 73. Displaying support for a sports team from the city of Baltimore would have been considered gauche by the district's sports fans in the early 1970s. Fuck you. Shut the fuck up. And
Goddamn
also, you know what,
sports
maybe
fans.
Maybe Bernstein had some friends and they were like, hey man, we're moving the team to DC. Here's some swag. You don't know. You don't fucking know. And plus, what a stupid thing to fucking type.
All right.
Dumb.
This is on the level of, there are a couple of goofs that are like, oh, the level of the water changes between shots. And I just want to say, as someone who's worked in the art department, if you ever see something like that in a movie, you keep your mouth shut. Some poor PA was tired and just wasn't, everyone was tired on take 18 and they were like, fuck it, I'm not refilling the water jug.
What has CinemaSins done to our culture? Two here.
I blame CinemaSins.
All right. I have a couple here, so I will. My phone decides to work. All right. When Woodward comes to Bernstein's apartment after being told it may be bugged, he turns on the stereo loud. This was unnecessary, as they didn't talk to each other. They then communicated by typing. Fuck you, buddy.
Okay, you know, he's not wrong, though.
I still hate him.
Maybe they just want to listen to music, guy. Come
Yeah.
on.
Okay, they took all the precautions. They don't take half measures.
They're being careful. The Post is careful.
And this is why the Post is going to back these boys, all right?
Yeah.
Did you pull any, Matthew? Pull any goofs?
I do have one. It's not quite a goof, maybe, but stuck out to me for some very specific reasons. Reasons that require me to say, hey, this is a Warner Brothers movie. I do not speak for the company. All opinions I am about to express are entirely my own and have expressed throughout this podcast. Anyway, if you go to the Wikipedia, this is a Wikipedia goof. I don't know if y'all do these, but
We do now.
I'm calling y'all out. I'm calling you out, Wikipedia editors.
Put them in their
Get on
place.
this. Get on
no
this.
$2 for you.
Under production, as they talk about filming, they quote a little bit of a Washington Post article about the making of this movie. Topical journalism from 1975.
Circle jerk.
They say boxes of trash were gathered and transported to sets, recreating the newsroom on 2 sound stages in Hollywood's Burbank studios at a cost of $200,000. And if you were to navigate to this section of the Wikipedia, you would see that Burbank Studios is highlighted. And if you click on it, it takes you to the Wikipedia page for what was formerly known as NBC Studios, which is currently the Burbank Studios on West Alameda in Burbank. That is the wrong studio. In 1975, what today is the Warner Brothers lot was co-owned between Warner Brothers and Columbia. It was known as the Burbank Studios, and all the interior scenes for all the President's Men that are done in California are on what are today stages 4, 5, 10, and 11. Fix it.
Like
Adjust it.
Fix it, Wikipedia editors, or you don't get our 25 cents.
All right.
Matt, was this your script from the tour? Like, did you have to give a tour and say this stuff? Because that felt like that's something that you've had to say multiple times in your life.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I have seen these exact plaques I'm talking about in a context I may have been paid for. But if I did, again, I would like to stipulate I do not speak for any branch of Warner Brothers Discovery except for myself.
They're going to hit you up and be like, you should have disclaimered at the beginning of the show, Matthew.
I'm really hoping that the script we have takes off so that when I get fired, I have something to call back on after this is released.
Hey, we've got time. We've got time between this recording and the release.
We'll hit the ground running.
Okay, I have one more goof here. This one, I found this one afterwards, and it pissed me off so much. I was like, I have to take that one also. At the beginning, a lookout is communicating via two-way radio with the intruders in the Watergate. He is conspicuously highlighted by the room's light bulb and otherwise dark surroundings. There is no logical reason he would have the light on, potentially giving him away, other than so the viewer can see him clearly.
I want to reach through the screen and punch this man.
I want to strangle him like he's not. Who does he strangle? He strangles Bart. I want to strangle him like he's Bart and I'm Homer.
I want to throw him from the top of the Watergate Tower. Is it a tower? Is it a bill? I don't know.
I love these people who submit these goofs, and within their submission, they reveal the reason why it's in the movie.
Is that one heavily downvoted?
It had 2 upvotes and 3 downvotes.
Good.
Just like,
I feel bad.
Why is that guy? Why would he have the lights on? That would give his position away. You know, the only reason would be so the viewers can see him. There you go. You fucking idiot.
There it is.
Yeah.
Learn to watch a movie.
Also, apparently in real life, that lookout missed a key thing he should have warned them about because he was distracted by a terrible B movie that was playing on television. And that's the funniest thing.
That's so real.
What's this stupid bee on this movie doing?
That makes me relate to the guy. Oh, Plan 9 from Outer Space. I'll just catch this one part. Oh shit! They got caught.
Let me dig through the Wikipedia page for Watergate scandal. See if I can find that movie.
Oh, okay. Well, you look for that. It is time for dad jokes. I have mine. Nick, do you have yours?
You go first. I'm thinking of one.
Okay. I've had this one for a while. You're gonna fucking hate this one, but I am quite proud of it. What did Richard Nixon say when he was offered a job at a restaurant?
What?
I am not a cook.
I hate you. Here's a classic. What's red and white and black all over?
What?
Democracy.
Well, it does die in the darkness.
Because it's actually red. But
Matthew, have you found what that movie he was watching?
Yes. Ooh. Which will be my contribution because I do not have a dad joke.
Okay, that's fair.
I apologize. Yes, according to...
The dad joke is the hardest part of the show.
According to sources, Alfred Baldwin, the spotter at the Howard Johnson's across the street, didn't observe the arrival of the police car or see them entering the building because he was distracted watching 1958's Attack of the Puppet People.
I want to watch this now.
Attack of the Puppet People.
Attack of the
Watch
Puppet
it.
People.
Watch it. Have your cigarette. Fail to notice crimes happening.
That box
Sounds like
art
a
is
good night.
great.
Oh my god, it's like a giant badger of some kind.
Movie posters used to be nice.
I
They used to
know.
not all be orange and blue and have everyone's faces on it. Sometimes you got a badger.
Yes,
The
it used to be
the
hand
tagline
drawn.
on this, if you cannot see this, listeners, the tagline of it is dull dwarfs versus the crushing giant beasts. And it's a bunch of people. It's like two ladies falling over in terror because it's a B movie from the 50s, and four dudes lifting a kitchen knife like over their heads like a battering ram at this animal
dog.
badger. I'm like, it might be a dog or something.
It might
It's
be
a dog.
Is it a dog? Because it looks like a badger.
Whatever it is, it's not what it's supposed to be, I think.
When it's about to get stabbed, I'm going to be sad.
Hang on, I need the plot synopsis of this movie.
I like to think that they were like they were waiting to be processed, and the watch out guy was like, "Guys, I'm so sorry." Guys,
Okay.
Attack of the Puppet People was on, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? That makes sense. I would have done the same thing." But
Secretary Sally Reynolds is grateful to her seemingly kind boss, Mr. Franz, when he introduces her to a dapper young man, Bob. Little does she know that Franz is more than a doll maker. Really, he is a merciless mad scientist who fights off loneliness by shrinking people and forcing them to serve as his live-in dolls. But when he shrinks Sally and her new beau, they refuse to be his playthings and escape into a dangerous world that towers over them.
See, this is
Starting to
the
think
era
that's a
of
dog.
movies that I'm like, we used to be a proper industry. We used to just say, here's $1 million or whatever. This was not made for $1 million.
This was
but
made for $17.
We used to say, here's some money. Sure, we'll release it. Have fun, kids.
I mean, look, it's got an entry on TCM's website, so they must have played this at least once.
it was made for $17. Its box office was a string of pocket lint.
You just know this was like a drive-in classic.
It was a film directed by Burt I. Gordon, whose filmography also includes such notable things as The Amazing Colossal Man, The Boy and the Pirates, How to Succeed with Sex, and Satan's Princess.
Earth versus
I now have a new favorite director.
One of his movies is just called Earth versus the Spider.
You know, we complain about like how dumbed down movies are now and how they kind of have to hold the audience's hand, but I mean, these titles are holding hands right here. What's that movie called? The one it's called Earth versus Spider.
Earth versus the Spider.
What's it about?
You know what? You know
Earth
what they had?
Spider.
You know what they had though that these Netflix movies don't? They had heart.
And spiders.
Yeah. I'd rather watch that than Back in Action, which unfortunately I already
Back
watched.
in Action. Which one is that?
It's the one with Cameron Diaz.
Oh God, she came out of retirement for this?
Yeah, I wrote a whole Substack because of this
Cameron.
movie.
Even the cover is poorly lit.
It's terrible, just awful.
Do we want to spin the wheel? Spin the wheel and get out of here?
Well, no, before we spin the wheel, we have our special segment that we only do when there's a guest on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Matthew, I'm going to give you the dad questionnaire.
Oh God.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you 14 questions. It used to be 13, but I've added, well, it used to be 12, then I added one, and I've added another one.
Jesus.
I'm going to ask you 14
I'm not prepared.
questions.
I didn't study.
No,
This is my nightmare.
You're going to give me the first answer that comes to your head, straight from the heart. And through your answers, the audience is going to be able to tell just how dad you are.
Oh God.
Everybody has a little dad in them. Don't worry. That doesn't sound right.
That sounds awful.
Everybody,
Continue.
everybody, no matter the creed or color or gender, can be dad. Everybody has
That
dad.
looks better on the box.
Everybody,
That's a better blurb for the box.
everybody has some dad energy, and through this questionnaire, our listeners will be able to tell how much you have. All right. Question 1: do you think you could land an airplane in an emergency?
God no.
All right. Question 2: what is your favorite action movie?
Ooh. I'm such a young trash, I am just gonna say The Avengers.
The first one?
Yeah, the very first one. It's good
That's fair.
popcorn.
That's fair. That's a good movie. Despite what Martin Scorsese will have you believe.
Oh, I should have been thematic and said The Winter Soldier, because Robert Redford is in that one, but I'll
That's
stick
also
with
a
my
great one. All
From the
right.
Hearts.
What is your remote drop movie?
What is my remote drop? What does this question mean?
Your remote drop movie. It's when you're scanning the. I guess this is difficult because nobody has cable anymore. When you scan in like the channels and a movie's on TV, and you drop the remote and you watch it.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I think last movie I can remember doing that with was Kong Skull Island. So we'll do that.
All right.
I
How
was
often?
on a date at the time.
Ooh. How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
The actual Roman Empire, not that often at all.
Are there other Roman empires that you do think about?
Well, I have my personal Roman empires, but they are not actual Rome.
All right. Have you ever watched a movie standing up? And if so, what's the longest you've lasted before sitting?
Not all the way through. Usually I'll wind up flitting in and out. If I sit down, I usually go a couple minutes. It's not typically, actually, this is just funny and may reveal some more dad things to the listeners. I don't tend to, like, come into a movie and, like, sit down. However, multiple times I have come home and my roommate and one of her friends have been watching, like, the last episode of a Netflix series. So I have seen, like, the finale of a couple things and not any other. And those are, like, sit there, stand a little. I'll watch the end of Squid Game, sure.
All right. It's a dad thing to do. Just come in, what you're watching. All right. Question 6. If you were stranded on a deserted island, what movie would you want with you?
Oh, man.
He's cheating. He's looking at his DVDs right now.
I am not. I am absolutely not. I will turn the camera on because I had to move to prove.
For those listening, he really turned his camera on to prove that he wasn't cheating.
Yeah, but we can't
That's how
see.
seriously I take this.
We can't see if there's DVDs behind the camera.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not a crook. Okay.
It's like when you take a test online and you've got the answers on the screen of your laptop on one side and you're typing on the other.
I have to hold up my Scantron to this. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, if I'm on a desert island, I want to laugh. So, the greatest movie ever made, Paul Verhoeven's Showgirls.
Okay, I respect that answer.
If the listeners had any question of like, maybe this guy actually is a dad, that sunk it right there.
What was it was Showgirls, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of dads
right.
probably like Showgirls.
I think a lot of dads weren't dads previously and grew up liking Jesse Spano, and they're like, hey, the lady who plays Jesse Spano's in Showgirls.
Yeah, but that's not why I like Showgirls. I like Showgirls because I'm like, wow, what a movie.
What a movie. Oh, in the words of Harry Styles, it's like a movie.
It truly is.
All right.
It's such movie.
Question 7. How many works of Taylor Sheridan have you seen?
Well, I know who that is, so that's a point, I'm gonna say.
You know who he is.
I feel like I've vaguely been saying, like, I'll watch Yellowstone at some point, but I have not yet. So I believe the answer is no. I'm just gonna double check if he has done anything else.
He has done a few.
Sons of Anarchy.
He's done some non-Yellowstone things.
He's done some pretty good movies, I must admit.
Sicario, Hell or High Water. What else? I'm missing a big one, aren't I?
Wind River.
Wind River.
Yeah, I cannot say. I'm gonna have to Keke Palmer this. Sorry to this man, I don't know him.
All right. Next question. If a loved one was kidnapped, which movie character would you most emulate while attempting a dare and rescue?
I would emulate either Woodward or Bernstein and just start calling people to help because I'm not doing anything.
Fantastic.
Is that my daughter in there?
Question 9. Do you let others touch the thermostat?
This, as I'm sitting here sweating in Los Angeles because it's weirdly hot, but our AC is terrible, so we don't run it. Hypothetically, yes, I'm more the one who runs the AC more than my roommate, so sure.
Okay. Okay, this is the new question.
Ooh.
Who is the best Jack? Bauer, Reacher, or Ryan?
Ooh.
I spent too long trying to think of a funny answer, but now then nothing's coming. Now I have to actually think of a real one. Go Ryan.
All right.
I'll go Jack Ryan.
What is your favorite movie quote?
I've already told you I work at a studio. This is like choosing between my many children here.
You might get fired if you pick wrong, so be careful.
That is true. I also may get fired if I pick right. So.
You quote something that isn't out yet. Right, we don't know that one.
So in Joker 3,
Greenland was the other one.
You know, we still live in a society.
I'm like, I guarantee they're not. I can say that because I can almost guarantee that's not happening. And if it is, I didn't know that.
They doubled down. They fucking doubled down.
I may actually ask you to cut this so I don't really get fired. Not that any of my bosses will listen to this, but...
You accidentally confirmed Joker 3 exists.
I would be like, in my defense, how the hell was I supposed to know that? Ooh. Well, I do... This isn't necessarily my favorite, but when I am in traffic, which... Again, I'm in Southern California. That often happens. My mind always, at some point, quotes Eliza Doolittle from My Fair Lady. Come on, Dover, move your blooming ass! I'll take that, you know?
Oh, just imagine that being yelled in traffic. That's great. Who is the coolest movie character?
Cool is such a broad thing. Is it the cool I want to be? Is it the cool I'm like, there but for the grace of God go I? I'm gonna go classic. I think if you can look at a picture of James Dean and not think that man is one of the coolest motherfuckers who's walked this earth, that's impressive to me. So we'll say Jim from Rebel without a cause.
Okay, favorite dad joke.
Ooh, what's the last joke my dad actually texted me?
Your dad texts you dad jokes. I love it.
Occasionally, we have fun. This was an interaction. I saw a Lambo walking around randomly parked on the street somewhere. Texted him a photo because it's like, car guy, look. And I was like, there were like four. It was a top boys will be boys moments. There were 4 dudes, all of us just gawking around it. And my dad just responds, people say cool cars attract the ladies. Not true.
Okay, final and most important question.
Oh boy.
What is the best Tom Cruise movie?
Ooh.
And you can say one that's not out yet. You won't get in trouble.
I don't know ones that aren't out yet. I will disappoint a couple of my friends, and I will not say Rock of Ages.
They've been robbed. They were robbed.
Sorry. Be sad about it. Which one? This is a good spoil for choice moment. He was in The Outsiders? That's so weird.
Oh yeah, he's really good in The Outsiders. He plays Soda Pop, I think. No, yeah, he plays Soda Pop, if I remember correctly.
He's a very minor character.
Oh, is he?
I do not remember
That movie's filled with stars though, so it's
Yeah,
Who is
maybe
plays-
maybe Emilio's Soda Pop.
He play Rob Lowe is
he's
Soda Pop.
Steve?
See, I told it's fucking filled with stars. It's easy to get them mixed up.
There's a lot of good. Actual answer. It is not The Outsiders either. I'm drawing out the suspense. Actual answer. Yeah, we'll go with my heart. I love Interview with the Vampire, and he is so good as Lestat. It is not the one people think when they're like, "Oh, Tom Cruise roles," but it's like, yo, he's so good.
That is a very respectable answer. All right, Matthew, the audience now can judge your dadness. I will not give you a result because it's not for me to say; it's for them.
For them, they'll send in their surveys after.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I can't wait for the feedback.
All right, now it's time to spin the wheel.
Spin that wheel. Spin that wheel.
All right, as always, since this wheel is not hooked up to any audio equipment, I will do the sound effect and.
Oh, I didn't even say what I wanted.
Well, I hope you wanted vengeance.
Another journalism movie? Hell yeah.
It's a modern journalism movie. He hosts a podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
All the podcasters' bet has been taken. No. Now what am I gonna do when I get fired?
Damn!
BJ Novak did the most BJ Novak thing he could do and stole our movie idea right out from under us.
Yeah,
How
2
dare
years
you.
before we thought of it.
Bastard.
When did this come out?
now.
3 years.
2022.
Damn.
Time is a circle and such. Matthew, thank you so much for coming on to the show, man. It's been
Thank you so much.
been too long. We you and I got drinks in LA 2 years ago. We were at some
Sure.
we were at
I
the
have no
mall.
concept of time.
Where were we at? We were at like an outdoor mall. What was that place?
I believe we were at the Grove.
Yes, it was very
and-
nice. I was broke as
Yeah.
hell. So I wasn't trying to spend too much money.
Yeah, we met up, we got drinks, we bummed around the Academy Museum for a little bit, I think.
The Academy Museum was
Just
sweet
right
because they
there.
had the. I think the thing I remember the most, they had the Midsummer flower dress there.
Yeah.
That thing was fucking crazy in person. That
It's
thing was
wild.
awesome. I want to go again. They also had
yeah, it was great.
they had just updated the Oscars room, I think, because the slap had just happened, if I remember correctly. Because they have like the circle of like interesting things that happen at the Oscars, and there's
They're
a
like,
picture
"Here's
of
one."
Will slapping.
They put the slap in the
Uh,
museum?
I'm pretty sure I remember seeing it because I was
That's
like, I bet it's not
fantastic.
updated, and it fucking was.
I love that.
And then what was the the other thing was the Spike Lee room. Spike Lee room was really cool.
Yeah, they had a bunch of his stuff on display at that point.
I don't think
So
that's
fun.
there anymore though. I think they changed that out though.
I think they
But that
rotate,
was a
yeah.
really cool room.
Yeah, no, that was very fun. Nick, one of the few good people I met before I left Twitter. So
Well, I'm glad we got to hang out. We should do it again. Next time I come out, I will ring you up.
absolutely.
And thanks again for coming on the show.
Yes, this
Thank
is
you
there
so much
anywhere
for
where
having
people-
me.
Is there anywhere where people can keep up with you? Any podcast? Do you own a newspaper by chance?
Yes, I'm officially announcing I actually am the new owner of the Washington Post. So, but no, y'all can go find me on you can go find me on Blue Sky, as I may have alluded to. Not much on X anymore. You can go find me at mpinkneywriter.bsky.social. And if you have listened to an hour and some change of my voice and still find my thoughts interesting, you can go listen to the podcast that I do with my sister and soon some other guests. It's called You Haven't Seen This. It's where me and a guest, or usually my sister, but she is extremely busy, so it's more other guests now. We discuss important and or nostalgic movies that one of us has seen, and the fact that the other hasn't make us go, "You haven't seen this?" You can go find that at you haven't seen this.bsky.social as well. Listen,
Alright.
give me
Thanks,
streams. Maybe I'll make more. Maybe I'll have you two on.
fantastic.
That'd be awesome.
If you got it.
Yes.
Synergy, baby.
This was very fun. This was another excellent episode. at least top 3.
Top 3 and guess too.
Top 3 and guess. How many guests have we had on so far?
4?
4? Okay, yeah. So this is at least top 3 guests.
I feel better. Okay, I
Yeah.
was about to be like, you're like top 3 guests. I'm like, am I your 3rd guest? But
No,
I'm 4. I'll take it.
You can follow the show at standandwatch.bsky.social. We are not on the other app or the other app because they're places of evil. You can follow me and Nick there also, but you have to work for that information. You know, get on the phone, make some calls.
I'm in the evil places doing evil things, so check me out over there. Check me out anywhere.
Yeah, if you can discern that information, then you have the privilege of following us. If not, follow the show. Steve Buscemi already does. Hi, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
And as always, whatever you do, don't tell your mother.